Good evening, Jim Russell with the Pizzuti Companies. Just once again, want to thank you all for the opportunity that you've entrusted in this whole team. This is a great project and we're so happy with the way the teams have come together because this has been a complicated building, as you know, and a lot of complicated questions that we've had to deal with. So it's been a great honor. We're really happy that we're really getting close now. So I'm going to close the gap a little bit, talk a little bit more about our discussions with OSU, and then again outline some of the process and the role we'll be playing to help you control costs and this team control costs so we can deliver this great project. And then once again, kind of revisit what's going to be coming forward to you in the future. If you recall, we had selected Ohio State Wexner Medical Center as your wellness partner. That was a competitive solicitation went through. We were able to work through some early negotiations that led to the signing of a letter of intent with OSU. Since that time, we've been working collectively as a team to control the cost, do what we can to make sure this is a great, efficient building that meets the program requirements, but also kind of meet your budget. And so in that same time frame, we've kept OSU abreast of what's been going on to make sure we can adequately meet their needs throughout the building. We have now re-engaged OSU now that we have good pricing and we've completed the construction drawings. We've re-engaged them to really focus on a few things. One, and we've been successful working with them on understanding a term in real estate, the BOMA factor, how much square footage they actually will be leasing because they get a portion of the prorated cost of the rest of the building, lobby area, and some of those spaces that would get added to their rent. So we've been working on that with them and really to understand some of their procurement process moving forward. We are starting to initiate new design and advancing those designs with OSU and has presented them an updated base lease requirement. So they are reviewing that now and hopefully we'll be able to continue those discussions and sooner rather than later bring back a lease to this body. A couple of the things that we've been focusing on with OSU and will continue to do so is really to make sure how they will utilize the space. Remember early on, we had discussed OSU and then also the potential for Children's Hospital being a tenant as well. Right now, we really are focusing on OSU, working on all of the spaces. And if there's an opportunity that not only meets their program, that where another partner may come in, that would be a sublease or subtenant of theirs. But it's important in the evolution of the building and the spaces and how they have lined up that we believe OSU is really the best to take most of the space. So that's really what we're advancing with them at this point. And then we'll continue to keep you up to date as we're moving through those discussions. A couple of the next steps. I think I skipped. Wait, let me get back. I'm sorry. Did we lose a slide here, Jeff? Okay. So coming ahead, we had mentioned earlier that next step for you will be on March 6th, and we'll be introducing the authorizing legislation that will really outline the contractual terms of the GMP. So you'll be able to review those elements while we're finalizing the GMP pricing. There's the bid scoping, and then that will be presented as part of the first reading on March 20th. And then your second and final reading, hopefully it will be on March 27th. At that point, you'll be presented with a GMP amendment that will be fully negotiated and all the blanks filled in for the contract amounts. And then you'll also be presented soon after with another piece of legislation which will authorize your builder's risk insurance. And that's just your policy on the building and construction materials. That's been done in consultation with your underwriter. So that'll be presented to you as protection on the site and building through construction. And then the individual quality assurance testing will also be coming before you. Those were all publicly procured using your procurement process and been selected based on their qualifications, and they will come in and be directed as each of the phases of work requires. A couple of things in the role that we'll be playing throughout the construction, while there's a lot of work that we'll be doing as an extension of your staff. Making sure, I guess, one of the first things we want to do is to help remove obstacles from the team to make sure that they're able to move through it as efficiently as they can, because as efficient as they can get really means savings to you. So we'll be working alongside doing some of the bid scoping, working with Elford Continental on reviewing those processes to make sure that everything is complete as part of the development of the GMP. Ongoing, we'll be reviewing all of the pay applications for review for completeness, to make sure all the paperwork in, all the tracking documents are turned in, and then we'll make recommendations on the action and the payment of those invoices. And then also, we really work hard on helping to manage the change order process. So we'll be reviewing all of the change order requests for accuracy, completion, necessary, necessity of them, sorry. And then also tracking and assigning codes. So we always want to make sure that if there's a change order coming in, to identify the cause and purpose. Was it an errors and omission? Was it a owner directed change, or was it a fill condition that identified? And we do that throughout the process from the beginning, so no one has to remember what a condition might have been that led to approval. And that's the same with field work orders. So a lot of effort on the cost control side, and again, being an extension of your eyes and ears on the job site. Just to kind of remind everybody about the project contingencies. If you remember early on, as you've been working through this process, we have a number of contingencies that are built into the project. We have started out with design contingencies, which was a contingency number that was there to help cover items where the design may have not been complete yet. And so estimates that were put together, there's always that allowance to make sure that anything that may have been missed, or as the design advanced, there is dollars to cover it. So you had those design contingencies. At this point, because we have completed construction documents, those design contingencies find their way into the budget. Now the design's complete, they've been allocated and directed where they need to be. So those are now going to be found in the GMP budget that you'll be presented. Likewise, we had also construction contingencies that is by contract held by the contractor. That is built in, that will stay in through the process. That's by contract 1.25% of the construction. And that is to be directed and used for, again, some of those unforeseen circumstances, changes, modifications, or needs. That is under the control of the owner, directs those changes as necessary, and any savings of that comes back to the city as part of that process. The other contingency we are carrying is escalation contingency. We expect likewise to the design contingencies that will now find itself into the budget. So when the prices and everything is sorted out, hopefully that is covered as part of that contingency. So it basically moves itself back into the budget. And then finally, you have your project contingencies that again, right now are 3% of the project of the construction budget, and that'll be lodged and held for you to control and release as necessary again. One of the things to be thinking about, we know we have several ad alternates to the project, so we hope that the ad alternates are able to be selected with bid savings. But if not, as we're scoping through and design decisions are made, you may choose to allocate some of those contingencies dollars to select some of those ad alternates.